Okay, so I want to talk about the way that I refer to Spyro, and as of today, I also have snakes and ladders in my head for how I like to refer to the way that progress is made and your transformation journey works. So, the way that I work with Spyro, this is probably one more for my clients or for anyone that actually wants to join the team, but I just want to explain how and what I mean by leveling up through levels of flexibility, levels of sustainability, and just advancing through your program with me as a coach. So with Spyro, the way it works is that, okay, you're this purple dinosaur, you have tasks to do, and along the way you have to collect items for your inventory. So depending on what those items are, you'll have to collect 8 or 10 or whatever it is, and progressively as the levels get harder, it gets harder and harder to collect these inventory items. But once you've collected them all, you're ready to move to the next level. So the way that I approach that within my coaching is that once you went through the paces, you learned the basics of, say, routine, structure, mindset, adaptability, resilience, checking in with me, making sure that you do check in with me, like the intensity you put into your sessions, accumulating the volume. So when I start my clients out, most of the time, depending on where they come to me at, but for the majority of the clients that start off with me, they're coming from they don't really have a set program, or they're coming from more of a beginner state, or they hardly have ever trained before. So that's probably about 80% of my clients. So with these clients, what I do is I start to accumulate a lot of training volume through sets, reps, frequency, and it is pretty intense in terms of the volume within a session. But what I do there is I don't expect you to go really heavy and take long in rests. I want you to get it done in a short amount of time. So this is also really effective when it comes to keeping your heart rate elevated. It's kind of like high intensity training, high intensity interval training, because you're doing something pretty intense, getting your heart rate up, resting a little bit, and then going back into doing the next set kind of thing. So that's to bring up your muscle endurance, your exercise endurance, your exercise capacity, your strength. It's like helping you, it's demanding more oxygen and demanding more metabolic burn. So it's also helping assimilate nutrients pretty much to your body as you're demanding these fuels to, you're not really demanding the creatine phosphate system, which is more for strength and stuff. You're staying within the lactic burn and within the it's anaerobic with some aerobic to it, because you need that consistent energy supply kind of thing. And oxygen and fat burning and all that stuff is like carbs, fats. They're more your sustainable sources of fuel versus creatine, which only lasts for a 1 or 2 or 3 rep kind of thing. But anyway, back into what I was saying. So I start, the way that I start things out is pyramiding you up. And what we want to build is a really, really, really strong base. Think about a pyramid. The wider and greater that you build this base, and the stronger that it is, the pyramid is going to be able to last even longer. So that's where all my education comes in. So I'm currently working on some files for my group to teach about the way that exercise guidelines, training guidelines, explaining the way that training is supposed to work, the way that you're meant to progress through training. I'm doing the same with flexible dieting for when you're up to that level. Nutrients itself, different forms of protein that you can swap in, different forms of carbs, veggies. I'm working on all of that stuff behind the scenes. And I'm also working with a co-coach. He's part of, we're on the same type of team, kind of coalition sort of thing from Greece. And he works alongside some amazing biology guru from America. So there's I'm learning a lot from down their pathway, and the way that I like to disseminate things is by breaking down their technical terms and the way that they always explain things into something that you can grasp into a more workable and practical approach, because I like making things easy to understand and practical. So yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying. So once we build this base, educate, empower, get the mindset there, because you can't build a house on shaky foundations. You can't build anything on shaky foundations. And if your mindset isn't there, it's pretty much like building on quicksand. So think of the base or the foundations of building a house, whatever the hell you're thinking of. Think of that as just starting out, building your nutrition and dieting kind of mindset, routine, structure, kind of getting into that whole healthy routine, learning about food, all of that stuff, and being educated about the right choices to make, because eating clean can still get you fat. Eating clean doesn't mean anything. Like, it's different to anyone. Like, I know someone who thinks eating clean is broccoli, chicken, and rice. Now, that could easily make someone fat if they don't have the calorie allowance for rice. And then I know someone who thinks eating clean is freaking, like, Diet Coke and all this artificial crap. Now, I'm not saying that's bad, because I have a shitload of it myself. But to them, that's eating clean, because to them, eating dirty, or whatever you want to call it, is full sugared stuff. And then there's people that are like paleo and keto, that eating clean to them is avocado, coconut oil, and all the fatty shit, which could easily make so many people fat, because they don't understand that calories count, and fat is the most calorically dense macronutrient that you can have. Anyway, so that's pretty much what the base of nutrition is, and then there's the training, which I already explained. So now, what are you going to build the base? Like, what are you going to start building on? I consider that ground layer the mindset. Your ability to adhere, your ability to sustain, your ability to communicate and be honest and acknowledge where you're stuffing up. Like, you need to acknowledge where you are going wrong. Like, there was a girl that took 3 months to finally acknowledge that her self-sabotage, and the reason she wasn't getting anywhere was because she felt like she had to please everyone. She couldn't say no to people. She felt like she owed other people different types of things, and it wasn't until she recognized that she needed to start putting herself first and learning to say no, that we could start progressing. And now even her blood markers are improved, and she's getting off all her medications pretty much via the doctor, not via me, because that is not within my realm. Anyway, so you need to make sure that that mindset's there, the communication's there, awareness, and really focusing on fertilizing that grass. So that's where the constant mind work comes in, because, like, if all of a sudden it starts raining and you're not maintaining that ground, you're not fertilizing it, you're not making sure it's stable, you're not making sure it's even, you're not continually maintaining that ground, the base can easily crumble. Because you can even, like, you need to make sure you're doing the basics right in themselves and continuously. So making sure that you're always, like, for example, I don't know if all wogs do it, but my family is so high. Like, my dad is retired, yet he has never sat down for more than an hour in a row during the day. He's always maintaining the house. He always finds something stupid to maintain within the house, like whether it's redoing a wall, redoing something. Like, he's always maintaining the house. That's pretty much what we want to do with the base of the pyramid. We want to make sure that its structure is always going to be there to be able to continue advancing on, to add more, like, advancements, intensities, anything on top. So that's pretty much how I see my Spyro game. So you work your way up like that. Now, when I talk about snakes and ladders, if you let anything like that slip, or if you feel hopeless, or you're just sitting in your own thoughts and you're not acting, you're going to stay on the, like, you need to roll a dice to be able to move. And if you let your mindset slip, that's just like, not really mindset slip, but if you let your focus fade, because your mindset is going to slip. It's inevitable, because not everyone has an iron fort mindset 24/7. Even I don't. But are you going to continue rolling the dice and playing the game, or are you going to fall down the snake and stay there? Because ladders are climbed one at a time, one step at a time. So you can either let yourself slide down the snakes whenever you slip up and stay all the way down the bottom, and then slide down another snake if you don't be assertive in your actions, or you can continue on the way up. Keep rolling the dice, keep moving forward, because you want to get to the top of the game board, and you're not going to get to the top of the game board unless you roll the dice. Slip down a snake, that's fine. Roll the dice, go again. That type of thing. Anyway, that is my little ramble on how I see Spyro and the game of snakes and ladders, and I hope it helped you in some way.